We have breaking news right now. The CHP in pursuit of a driver of a stolen car.
Desmond Shaw is live in Sky 9 above the scene. And Des, we're hearing that this may be a stolen Kia Soul.
That is correct, Ross and Susie. We're southbound on the 5 now. We're leaving Burbank. This one has basically circling back across Los Angeles. It started in South LA, and LAPD was following this vehicle for a really long time on the northbound 110, and then onto the North 5, the North 2, and then somehow we ended up all the way in Burbank and actually Pacoima before they decided to try to pull this vehicle over. And then LAPD, they really wanted CHP to get involved. They actually really didn't want to pursue this vehicle. The watch commander was even saying, we're not going to chase this person. But they said if CHP wants to do it, then they can. So that's where we are right now. It's now CHP's pursuit, southbound on the 5, an allegedly stolen vehicle, this white Kia Soul, as we make our way down towards Los Feliz. Ross and Susie.
And Des, I know that we have very limited information, but are you hearing anything about that suspect? Does CHP or LAPD believe possibly armed? Is it one person in the car for sure?
It sounds like they're talking like they think there's just one male in the car, just the male driver, no one else. That's the information that I've heard so far. No word about armed and dangerous, or how this vehicle was acquired, if it was stolen off the street. It most likely was. If this vehicle was taken by carjacking, we might know that information. So this was most likely just on the stolen vehicle database that all of the law enforcement agencies share, and LAPD ran that license plate, saw it was stolen, and they'll follow a vehicle for a long time. They want to make sure that they have backup, that they get air support. That is LAPD's helicopter overhead, so they're in the air, but on the ground it is CHP. But just believed to be the one person here. Haven't seen really crazy speeds, but we are up a little bit above the speed limit now as we continue to head towards downtown LA.
Desmond, I know you were talking about the fact that this person was driving on the 110, the 5, the 2. Any indication that this person was on Surface Street at any point in South LA?
I don't. They brief not in South LA. Not that we. It must have been initially when LAPD probably first spotted this vehicle and ran the license plate. But then the first we had heard was that it was on the 110. And then when we got to the Pacoima area, they were kind of over by Whiteman Airport. Briefly got off the 5 freeway and then came back down through Sunland and then got onto the southbound 5. So here we are. I would say we've been on freeways about 95% of this pursuit. You see CHP right here. They're actually from the Altadena office, but they're trying to get CHP's Central Division to come in and take this over. And we'll see if CHP sends their helicopter as well. They come from Fullerton Airport, so they may come to eventually relieve LAPD.
And Desmond, can you pull out just for a second? It looks like southbound 5 there in the Elysian Valley is it's not that busy. That's a good sign, right? Traffic looks pretty sparse at this moment.
Yeah, definitely some light traffic conditions. Went through a construction zone earlier, but fortunately I didn't see any workers out there. I think they were just getting ready to set up the cone pattern. So pretty light traffic, and we'll just widen out and show you up ahead. I don't see any stop traffic or any road work, anything like that, to slow this suspect down. So just kind of cruising along here. Look, we're only going about the speed limit, and we haven't seen any of the crazy zigzagging around the freeway or blowing through red lights on surface streets, stop signs, anything like that, cutting anyone off. This is more on the much more tame side of the spectrum so far as pursuits go.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us here on KCAL 9 News at 10, this is breaking news, a CHP pursuit of a stolen vehicle. We don't know much about the person inside this car, if there's anyone else, if they're possibly armed, but we do know that this person has been driving at a high rate of speed on various freeways. This all started in South LA, as far as we know. On the 110 freeway, they jumped on, and then onto the 5, the 2, and back onto the 5. This started again in South LA, went through the cities of Burbank and Pacoima. The LAPD was at one point following this person, trying to get all of their people in line, if you will, behind this person. They have to make sure they get the approval of a supervisor first before anything can begin, obviously. And now the CHP is behind this person. And Desmond was talking about the fact that they're trying to change maybe to the CHP Central Division, which they will often do just because the pursuit is going through so many different areas so quickly. And usually the CHP will want to create one big package, if you will. They want to make sure that their chopper is overhead, which Desmond mentioned that they are probably on the way from Fullerton Airport right now. They want their cars, their patrol units behind this. And the CHP usually, that's what they usually do. It's all of theirs or usually nothing. So here we are waiting for the CHP chopper to come overhead.
Yeah, and Desmond, it looks like the driver now got off the 5, right, and is on the 110 heading north. Is that correct?
That's right. We transitioned there from the South 5 to the northbound 110. Kind of tried to pull a fast one there where they were kind of faking like they were going to exit the freeway, but then jutted back over to the left at the last second, thinking they could pull a full CHP. That seldom works, and it didn't work this time. You see just how close that CHP unit is behind. Kind of interesting, we're hearing that CHP is actually launching their fixed wing aircraft. It's a stationair. It's usually a crew of 3 on their aircraft. Maybe their helicopter might be down for maintenance reasons, or we haven't heard them up in the air, so not sure the reason behind that. But I can tell you that the fixed wing aircraft definitely at a disadvantage with a situation like this. They have to fly higher. If this goes down into the LAX airspace, they're not going to be able to follow into that airspace. Just a lot more airspace restrictions when you're in an airplane as opposed to a helicopter. So we'll see. Maybe they might want LAPD to hang out on this one for a little bit longer, but CHP's fixed wing aircraft inbound eventually. They don't have a spotlight on board either. They do have infrared technology, though, I believe. But here you see northbound on the 110. But, it's weird. The suspect's been using their turn signals, to signal lane changes. The lights are on. The speed limit here is actually right at about the speed limit. It's about, I think it's 55 miles an hour here on the northbound 110. So it's just really interesting how, I have to just say, tame this pursuit is compared to so many that we see.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that it's a Kia Soul, isn't it? I mean, you have to wonder what is it possibly in the vehicle that may have tempted this person to take it, and you also have to wonder, is CHP going to back off? Is that why the fixed wing is coming out? Look, it looks like he's getting off. Is that what's happening here?
Well, let's see what they're. I think he just kind of went through the stop sign and now getting back on the 110. So just kind of aimless at this point. And again, we started this on the other side of the 110, way down in South LA. We've already kind of done a big tour of Los Angeles all the way up to the northern San Fernando Valley. And now headed towards Pasadena. Continuing on the 110, it's going to dump them out in Pasadena. It ends onto Arroyo Boulevard north of Fair Oaks. If the suspect decides to stay on the freeway, he's going to be forced onto surface streets at this point. So we'll see what they do. Might be an opportunity for CHP to do a pit maneuver. We'll see. Haven't heard anything about them being approved to do that, but it is a very common tactic for CHP as soon as they get that opportunity on surface streets. Not uncommon at all to see a pit maneuver.
We've definitely seen them do it on the freeway as well. It looks like they are exiting here, Desmond. Is this off the 110 here?
Yeah, so we're getting into kind of a weird area around the Mount Washington area because surface streets here are just run all over the place. It's very easy to get lost in this area. The suspect, there's lots of hills around here. We'll see if they're going to stick with the main streets. Looks like so far they are now down onto Avenue 60. Unfortunately, maybe a few too many people out here for CHP to do a pit maneuver. Kind of some narrow streets as well. But you see the spotlight overhead being lent by LAPD on this. We'll see where the suspect is going, maybe down into a neighborhood now, and might end up, well, let's see if this is an area they know or if they're going to run into a dead end.
Yeah, it's interesting when they get in these side streets. As you say, it certainly seems that the path is random here, and they seem aimless. So maybe they've just made a bad move here. Oh, here we go.
Back onto the freeway. Yeah, this is the 110 freeway. It's so narrow, and those exits and the entrances are so dangerous and sudden. If you've ever driven on that freeway, boy, they are making some crazy moves right now on this freeway and speeding up too.
Yep, this is LA's first freeway. It's the second freeway ever constructed in America, and it shows with those ramps like you were just mentioning, Susie, how the entrance and exit ramps are so sharp, and you have almost no room to accelerate.